Hello, I'm Dr. Lisa Hart, and I welcome you to my first masterclass here. I am going to be delivering a masterclass once a week. That's my intention. I may take a couple of weeks off during the year, but I'm going to bring you this training every week, and it will get better. Today's my first one, so please bear with me. I have so much that I can teach, and I just decided that done is better than perfect, and we can grow together. Because if I wait until I'm perfect, then we'll be so old and gray and all this lost opportunity. So here we go. Before I start with the training, I like to always have my listeners, my audience, get really present. So I invite you to sit with your feet flat on the floor, your shoulders back, relax your shoulders, relax your hands, relax your neck. I want you to take a really big breath in through your nose. Hold it. 1, 2, 3. And then release it through your mouth. So let's do that 2 more times. I promise you this is worth it. Your brain is going to love this. So I'm going to go in through the nose. 1, 2, 3. Out through the mouth. Okay, one more time. I won't give you any prompts this time. You know how to do this. Here we go together. Wonderful. So now I would like for you to think of your intention for this training today. The topic is how to supercharge your manifesting. So what is your intention for being here today for this masterclass? What would you like to get out of it? Just one thing. And ideally, if you have something to write with and some paper, write it down. All right. Now, there is a workbook. Looks like this, the Goal Manifestation Workbook. It's in the group, Next Level Manifestation. If you're not already a member of the group, come on over. There's brand new energy there. We are really starting a lot of good there. So Next Level Manifesting, and that's where you'll find the workbook. We're going to go through the workbook today. Hopefully you have a pen, maybe some colored pens, whatever your favorite pen is, and you can print out the workbook. You can just write on a piece of paper, but it does help to write. And if you could print this out, we'll be using this same workbook for the next couple of weeks at least. And then my intention is to improve it pretty regularly so that it's most effective. But I commit to having the same one for this week and the next 2 weeks to give you time to print it, use it, get the most out of it. I will promise you that if you come back each week, even if the material is the same or very similar, you will hear things that I said before, but you did not hear, or you're a different person next week or the week after, and you're more primed to hear just the thing that's going to help you to have your quantum leap. So I'm all about accelerating your manifestations and helping you to have a quantum leap. So I'm now involved with a podcast, Next Level Woman. I'm very much helping people to take themselves to the next level. This is very key to that. So hard work and just nose to the grindstone can help you get to six figures. It can. You can work hard. You can force your way to six figures, but you will likely, almost certainly, not have time to spare. You won't have freedom, and that is going to be hard-earned money. And what I would like to teach you about is how to manifest money, how to manifest money, how to manifest freedom, how to manifest impact. I know I'm in my 50s. I just had my birthday, and impact, the legacy that I am setting up to leave behind, because none of us are here forever. So my focus now is on what impact do I still want to make on this world? And it takes money for part of that. It takes so much more, but it takes money. Someone has to pay the bills. Mother Teresa had a lot of people helping her pay the bills. So money is critical, and we want to be able to manifest whatever money we need, whatever money we want, and to manifest freedom and impact. So just so you know where I'm coming from. So the Goal Manifestation Workbook, which is the same thing nearly as the Quantum Leap Workbook. These two are so tied together. All right. Ideas are easy. Execution is everything. John Doerr. Now, have you noticed how you'll have an idea, and have you ever had an idea and you didn't do anything with it, but you had it, and the next thing you know, you hear about someone who has acted on that same idea. It's almost like they crept into your room, looked in your journal, if you keep a journal of your ideas, and stole your idea. But that's not what happened. Maybe it did, but that's probably not what happened. The thing is, I believe in divine inspiration, divine downloads. So your higher power has given you this idea, but has also given others this idea. Anyone who's at this certain vibrational level, tuned in at that vibration, received that idea. So it's up to you to act on it. So a good idea is not worth much if you don't take any action, if you don't do something with it. And you don't have to act on every single idea. But as part of this process of learning how to be a master manifester is learning to work with your higher power so that you do get these specific divine downloads just for you, to help you to achieve what you really want, your heart's burning desire. So keep that in mind. So instead of it just being random and you feel like you're just, at the whim of things falling from the sky on your head, know that there's a system. It's proven over and over again to work. It's a system. If it works for everyone else, what's so special about you that it won't work for you? It will, if you follow the steps. And there are several steps, and I'm going to cover those today. So we can't just stop with the idea, because remember, what is easy to do is easy not to do. So it takes action. And if you have chaotic, uninspired, frenzied action, then that's just going to exhaust you. You may make a little bit of money and a little bit of impact, but that's not what we're talking about either. So it takes It takes doing certain things in a certain way consistently. So it all starts with picking a really ambitious goal. You have to have an aiming point. If you don't have an aiming point, you're not going to manifest. It's just going to be random. So choose an aiming point. And at this point in my life, boy, can I tell you what my aiming point is. But I remember a few years ago where that was one of the most challenging things. I spent quite a bit of money and loads of time trying to figure out what I wanted to do with myself. I'd already become a CPA, I'd already become a doctor, a mother, and those were all awesome. But what did I really want to do with myself besides those other things? What impact did I want to have? What kind of life did I want? Um, it's never ever too old. You're never too old. It's never too late to dream big. You're either growing or dying. So I encourage you to continue to grow. Be absolutely grateful for everything, everything. Take full responsibility for everything, but never be satisfied. Never think, okay, well, this is it, and I'll just sit here. You can pause, you can take breaks, absolutely, 100%. But when you check out and you no longer have any goals, probably not going to last much longer. And that is not what's going to give you happiness. I guarantee you that will not give you happiness. So I invite you to choose an ambitious aiming point that will give you the life that you want, that will not require a vacation. You won't just dream of getting out of your situation. I invite you to be open to creating your perfect life, your dream life, even if it doesn't seem realistic. We could talk about what being realistic is all about and what a trap that is another time, but you don't have to be realistic. Certainly not right now. I want you to put all of that aside. Don't think about what you could reasonably do, what you could afford to do. Think about what you really want, really want. Now, on page 4 of the workbook, you will see it. The heading is Understanding Your Aiming Point. So this is where you should get your pen out. And if you actually answer these questions, it will help so much. The more you put into something, the more you get out of it. So if you just look at this and like, oh, I've heard that before. Oh, okay. Just stop now and go do something. Go watch a movie. If you really take this on, at the end of this masterclass, you will be further along. You'll have the clarity. You'll have tools that you can take action on today to help you as you become a master manifester. So, have you ever sat down and thought about what you want? You know, one place to start, if you're like I used to be a long time ago, is if you absolutely can't say what you want, then think, okay, well, what about vaguely what I want? Vaguely, maybe even choose what you most want to focus on first. Is it manifesting more money? Is it manifesting more time? Is it manifesting, well, freedom and time overlap? They're not exactly the same, but they do go hand in hand. Or is it that you want to create more impact? You might not even be sure what kind of impact, but you know you're at that point. So it doesn't matter what. So if you can't say specifically what you want to manifest, try to come up with a category. If that also stresses you out and you don't feel like you can do that, then make a list of, say, 5 things that you don't want. You know for sure you don't want those. And then think, okay, well, what's the opposite of that? What's the opposite of that? And that will get you closer. That will nudge your brain toward thinking about what you want, because you don't want to think in negative, because the brain doesn't actually think in negative. So if you focus on these, if you focus, sustained focus with emotion on the things you don't want, unfortunately, you're going to bring in more of that, because the brain just doesn't get the whole negative part. So, but as for this exercise, that is not going to make you manifest that. This is a process. It's some deep work that we're starting to do. And you have to go really deep if you want to go really high, just like a skyscraper. Think about that. So, could you easily say what you want? Yes or no? What is it for you? I can say today, absolutely yes. I can say exactly what I want. So, what is an aiming point? I've heard a lot of people use this analogy of an airplane. So, let's say you're leaving from New York and you're headed to Paris. Okay, so Paris is your aiming point. These days, I'm certainly not a pilot and I don't know much about it, but I understand that there's an autopilot. And so the pilots can set the autopilot and will do a lot of getting the plane there. But you're almost always getting off course ever so slightly. And then you tweak and you come back and so you keep going toward your aiming point. As long as you know where you're going, you'll get there. So, versus leaving from New York, don't know where we're going. We just don't want to be in New York. Well, I mean, you could go in any direction and get there because you don't know where you want to go. Um, so, an aiming point is something very specific. And it's something, a good aiming point is something that you feel so deeply about. It makes you feel emotional. You don't know how you would accomplish that. But keep in mind the how is not up to you. The how is up to our higher power. The what is your responsibility. But just don't step outside your zone and try to take over God's job. So, and if you don't know what burning desire you might have, just ask yourself, if I did have a burning desire, what would it be? It's a little NLP trick to help to get behind those filters, those automatic filters that come up, so that you do, because you do know somewhere deep inside you have these answers. So these are ways to actually get them into your conscious mind. We want to get your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your actions, your emotions all together on exactly the same page. And that is going to help you to become a master manifester. So, on page 5, was there ever a time in your life when you accomplished something very fast? Your back was against the wall, you needed to make things happen. Think about it. It could be related to anything, a health challenge. Maybe you've been through cancer. Maybe you have been through a heart attack, or maybe your doctor told you you have diabetes. It's, it could be anything, something typically big and emotional impact. Maybe you lost your job, or your business was failing because of the pandemic, or any number of other reasons that businesses fail, and you still have your family to support, or yourself to support, your animals, and you had to figure out how to cover those bills so that you'd have a place to live and things, food to eat. Were you able to dig deep and pull it off? Was there ever a time in your life where you had to really dig deep and pull it off? What was that like? So there's room here to write your story. Excuse me. So based on that, you're going to start tapping in to your emotions, and you're going to be tapping into your way of approaching things, your cognitive approach. Now, your cognitive approach is how you go after a goal or how you go after solving a problem. So it doesn't matter what the goal or what the problem, you will deep down have your signature way, your energetic signature about how you go about that, which is just natural after about the age of 8. So that's very interesting. There's a test that you can do too. You can do it online. The Kolbe, Kolbe. I love that test, and it's quite helpful. So you're starting to get some self-awareness here, and that's critical and beautiful. So on this next page, page 6, question 7, this should be fun, and you'll learn a lot more about yourself here too. You are naturally energized by certain things and de-energized by others, I'd say. So in the left-hand column, what energizes you? Right-hand column, what depletes you? You don't have to write sentences here. Just put bullet points. You know what you're talking about, but write that out. What does make you feel alive? And remember, it doesn't have to be obvious how you could make money from this, how this would affect your ability to impact or to have freedom. None of those filters right now. All you have to think about is what energizes you. Is it traveling? Is it reading? Is it walking, hiking? Is it being at the beach? Is it being in the middle of a really big city? Music? What is it? And then what depletes you? Bookkeeping, house cleaning. For some people, house cleaning is great. It's this white space mentally, and making their environment nicer. For other people, it's just awful. So what energizes you might be what depletes someone else. So just keep that in mind. This is not cookie cutter. There's nothing cookie cutter about this level of personal development. So on page 7, we're going to shift a little bit, and we're going to keep going deeper and deeper with your self-awareness. So I think you'll like this. So you have desires and dreams, but do you have a strategy? Because you need a powerful methodology that structures your ideas, energy, and efforts. There's a 5-step manifestation accelerator quantum leap strategy that I teach that offers the discipline process that you need. So we're learning about that today, because self-awareness is a big part of this, and emotions are a big part of this. And at first, that was really hard for me too, tapping into my emotions, because first it was a CPA. When you think of your accountant, do you think of an emotional accountant? Probably not. Then as a doctor, I mean, I see so many intense situations every day when I'm doctoring. If I got emotionally involved personally, I wouldn't be able to make it through the day. So you don't really want your doctor to be emotional either. Caring, 100%, but not free flowing with the emotions. It's just not sustainable. So keep that in mind as we fill out this exercise. I want you to choose 3 descriptive words that resonate with you. So is it kindness? Is it freedom? Is it wealthy? Is it beautiful? Giving? What is it? Any 3 descriptive words that feel right for you. And don't overthink it. Just check in and Come up with 3. All right. And now list 3 groups or communities of people you desire to serve. This will often stem back to an emotional experience from our childhood or somewhere along the way. A lot of people want to help youth or help battered women, help groups that support recovery from substance abuse or some sort of chronic disease or any sort of disease, tragedies, you name it. But what are your 3 communities or groups? It could be, I love old people. I love animals, or I love dogs, or I love chihuahuas. You can be as specific as you want, but 3 communities that kind of tug at your heart. That will be helpful. And now let's take it a level deeper. Why is service to these groups important to you? Is it because of personal experience of a loved one, something you've seen, something you've read? Why is it that you care about them? And when you go why, always try to go another level. Why is that? You can go several levels, 5 or 6 even. Ultimately, that is going to be so powerful, and really checking in with what is your burning desire. So, page 8. This is really great. These are some more prompts. I'll just read a couple of these. I'm not here to just sit and read the workbook. This workbook, every bit of it is so helpful. Do print it out, or you can do it online and then just have a piece of paper and write out your answers. But I do find that handwriting the answers is more impactful than typing them, but whatever you prefer. So here are some questions that are going to help you to become even more self-aware. So that's a big part of choosing your aiming point. I'm going to go beyond just choosing the aiming point, but this is worthy of a lot of attention. So, how do you want to live? Where do you want to live? What do you want to do for work? Now, some people have to work to pay the bills so that they have a place to live and food to eat. Some people are independently wealthy and don't have to worry about that. But we all benefit from having work, creating something, nurturing something. So when I say, what do you want to do for work? Don't think you're off the hook if you don't have to work to support yourself financially, because that is not the point. Can be the point, but we want to go way beyond that. So, do you want to grow in your profession, or do you want to change your profession? Do you want to have a profession? How much do you earn in this ideal that you have? What kind of car do you drive? What's your family life like? What are your relationships like? How's your health? Do you travel? Who are you as a person? What kind of results do you get for your clients if you have clients? See, this is helping you to see this other version of yourself. Because part of manifesting something is embodying the person who already has it. Now, that can be a mind bender for sure. And at first, I had trouble bending my mind around that, but it is so worthwhile. to embody this version of you. Think of this version of you living on an alternate plane of reality. I'm not saying that's the way it works, but let's just play with it. Let's pretend that she already exists on a different plane, exactly like you have her in your head. And let's embody her. Let's be her for a moment, an hour, a day, a week, a lifetime, so that we have what she has, what you really want. Now, once you have your aiming point, then it's all about relentless pursuit. Relentless pursuit. And we want to focus on divine actions more so than exhausted actions. It can be absolutely exhausting when you are pursuing your heart's desire, but you want it to be a good exhaustion. You want to make sure that you're tapping into the higher forces, because in order to make a quantum leap, in order to really break through to that next level and the next level, and there's always a next level, no matter where you are, there's always the next level. To be able to do that, then you have to tap into the higher powers. And it's a beautiful thing. And it works, it seems like magic. It really does. And it's better than magic, because you have a certain amount of control over it. And at the same time, there's certain things you have no control over, and you surrender into that. And you know that, and you know how this works. And you continue to ask your higher power for guidance, for inspiration, and you continue to get it through this bridge of incidents, as Neville Goddard would say, bridge of incidences. So on page 12, we go into practice relentless pursuit. Tap into your higher power and unseen sources and forces for guidance. And then write down what comes to you. So I encourage you to meditate and see in your mind's eye. And if you need help with photos, images, the vision board is great for this. Absolutely great. And I teach vision boarding also. But have a very clear image of what you want. And then imagine how it would feel, how it will feel, how it does feel to have that, be that, do that. Spend about 10 minutes in your imagination being, doing, having that thing that you want already. It's a done deal. It's yours. It's yours. Be there with your eyes closed. And then right after that, make sure you have paper and pen. A journal is great for this, a specific journal for this. And then write down things that come to you. This is one place you've opened up the channel, a faster channel between you and your higher power. And on more days than not, you're going to get what I call a divine download. And just write it down. Don't try to make sense of it. Just write down the things that seem to be coming through you and to you in that moment. Write it down. This will be useful. And that's what we're going to take relentless pursuit of. Let's say you have 3 ideas that come through today when you do that. Does one of them really resonate with you more than the others? Then choose that one and act on it. Now, once you've asked God, once you've asked your higher power for help with something and you've made it crystal clear exactly what your aiming point is, there's a good chance that right after this meditation, you will have these downloads. But also, just know that as you're going through your day, you'll have the bridge of incidents unfolding, one thing leading to another, connecting these dots. It'll be very easy to see how the dots connected looking back. But going forward, not so much. So you have to leave your house. You have to meet new people, do new things, go places, so that you're open to this bridge of incidences unfolding for you, these opportunities coming to you. Your part is such a small part. It's critical, but it's such a small part. And then give it to God, give it to your higher power. But don't expect God to do the work for you. The actual work is yours to do. Now, your work will be amplified so much, but action is so important. So we talked about closing your eyes and visualizing, having, being, doing, embodying this version of you that has exactly what you want. Now that you've seen it in your mind's eye, I want you on page 14 to take advantage of this space and create a vision narrative in the present tense. It has to be present tense. In present tense, as though everything you'd like to have in your life has already happened and you are living it. And only use positive language, because the brain, like I said before, does not understand the whole negative. So spend some time. You could spend 30 minutes or an hour on this easily. Nice cup of tea in a very quiet room. Let your imagination just flow. And every time you do this, you'll be flooded with richer detail, the smells, the sounds, what you're seeing. So this is not a one and done. This is something you want to do regularly. And it is part of becoming a master manifester. Now, we're going through a lot right now in this masterclass, and a lot of it, when you get in there, you may have questions. It may sound easy, but when it comes down to it, they're steps. So if you feel like you could use help becoming the master manifester of your desires, if you want more, if you are a little stuck at, 6 figures, let's say you've been making $300,000 a year, sounds like a lot. It's not what it used to be, you want to have a bigger impact, which requires more money. You want to be $600,000 generator, or you want to make 7 figures, then I'd be happy to do a strategy session so we can focus just on you and your issues, and to see if you need more help. If you do that, I promise, whether you become a client of mine or not, you will leave that strategy session with some actionable things to do that will take you along your journey to the next level. Now, section 3 is something we cannot leave out. And really, the greats in personal development have always said that success or failure really is 95% mindset and 5% action. So, and that's why you can never outperform your own self-image, because your mind, you're not even aware of it, but your paradigms are set in stone unless you actively do something about it. Your autopilots are set from the time you were 6 to 8 years old. Your beliefs, all these things are either sabotaging you or helping you. And in too many cases, they're sabotaging you. So the third thing we need to know about is mind work. So page 17 explains a little bit about it. Performance begins inside the brain. Your thinking designs your doing. Step three's mind work practices are absolutely critical in the quantum leap process. They give you access to the mighty powers of the unseen forces. They show how to manage your believing, your remembering, and your imagining. Mind work is your gateway to the promised land of manifestation. Now, one thing I like to teach about is revising. So, some of my clients just have absolutely frightening stories from their childhood and a lot of beliefs, all the programming that went in, without them being able to do anything about it, just pours right in, becomes part of your fiber and part of how you assess any situation. But it can be changed with help. So, mind work, please don't discount this. It is so important. So you have to know what you want. Then you have to be able to check in with your subconscious to know what comes up for you. Do you believe that you could have that? Do you not believe it? Where's that coming from? And do you have these voices? Like, let's say, are you open to turning your annual income into your monthly income? So, if you keep it just conscious level, you might say, "Oh yeah, that sounds great." But then if you really think about it, emotionalize it, do you feel this big disconnect? Like, well, that sounds kind of crazy to me, or that's impossible, or I've never known anyone who could do that. Um, we want to know why, because it is possible. It is possible. To God, to higher powers, there's no difference between small a small goal and a large goal. So, um, I want to teach you how to recognize what you're really programmed with subconsciously. So, for instance, with the turning your monthly income into your annual income, do you have a voice inside you, like we talked about? Write that down. Write down what that voice is saying. You may have two voices. You may have one voice that's saying, "Yeah, you could do that." The other voice, like, "Are you crazy?" Write them both down. And then I'll teach you what to do with what you wrote down. It requires deep work to make progress here and get to the next level, but it is all about the self-awareness and doing this one step at a time. And once you've done it properly, you never have to deal with that issue again. So, does your goal challenge your belief system? Because if it does, it will never happen. It will never happen. Energetically, it has to be something you just know, you believe. You no longer have doubts, no doubts whatsoever. Does your goal make you uncomfortable? Would you consider yourself a master manifester? Does that word make you uncomfortable? Do you feel comfortable with the thought of being able to have that amount of control over your results? I want you to, and we can do this with anything, not just money. It's just money being numbers is easier to work with for examples, but break your annual financial or other goal into quarterly, weekly, and daily targets. It's just part of the step by step, chunking it down and making it granular. That's one thing that will help make it more real. You may realize that what seems so big when you think of it as a total is quite doable when you break it down. And that helps your belief process because you have to believe it for it to happen. Now I want you to learn how to make a goal card. The magic of the goal card is just to be able to take you in your imagination to that other plane of reality where you have what you're seeking. So there are some goal card templates in here you can use. You can use an index card. I use a lot of index cards for all kinds of things. This is an example. Yours doesn't have to say this. You could have a bullet point, but this is a nice format that a lot of people use. You want to have your goal and then today's date. I'm so happy and grateful now that, write it out. And Think and Grow Rich, they encourage you to put a deadline. Now, will that ensure that this happens by that deadline? No. Everything has a gestation period, and we don't know what that gestation period is, but it's certainly fine to put a deadline on it. But say this in the positive in the present. So here's another example. I am so happy and grateful now that I earn $40,000 every month. My clients and team are getting phenomenal results from my world-class service and mentorship. My growth and consistency perpetually create quantum leaps for myself and everyone I come in contact with. It is done and I love it. See? So that has bits woven into it to engage your emotions, because the emotions are the rocket fuel for your manifestation. You have to engage with your emotions. That's why we go why and why and why for what you want. We want to get to that strong, strong emotion. So, and you can practice this. You can kind of play around with it until you have something that seems right. And it won't always be your goal card. Your goal card can change, but most of my clients, if not all, when they really take this on and they create their goal card and they carry it with them everywhere, can laminate it, put it in a little plastic pocket, pull it out multiple times a day, combine it with a little meditation, maybe some vision boarding, visualizing with your mind's eye. If you have a goal card, the specific aiming point, and you really engage with it emotionally 2 or 3 times a day, you will have what that card represents. It will come to you through unseen forces, through the unfolding of the bridge of incidences. And what does that mean? It can mean, you run into someone out and about or maybe online, and you leave everyone you encounter with a sense of increase. You help them, they end up saying something just in passing that triggers an idea in you, maybe causing you to connect with someone else, to create something, to make a post. You don't know how it's going to play out. Just know that it will. It will. If you do the steps, if you do your part, it will. So the goal card, I have a couple of pages of these in here that you can use. So I want you to remember these steps. You have to have a very specific aiming point. And it needs to be something that's heart driven, something that gets you very emotional. And then you need to engage with your higher powers, higher power, your intuition. This is your direct line with your higher power. Keep that in mind. Never dismiss your intuition. Never, ever, ever. You will regret it. Yes. Again, could do a whole training on that. Don't dismiss your intuition. So, specific aiming point, very emotionalized, connecting with your higher power, having relentless pursuit, taking inspired actions, and then the mindset, working through bit by bit the beliefs that you have. You may not even realize you have until you start doing this deep work. The beliefs you have that are holding you back, that are limiting you. You know, people talk about corporate America's glass ceiling, but we all have glass ceilings of our own making, and they are far more restrictive than the corporate ones in most cases. So shatter those glass ceilings, increase your self-awareness. So many exercises. This is work that is worth doing. Most people have a collection of traumas from somewhere in their life. Some people have trunks and busloads of traumas, and some people might have a little carry-on of traumas, but everyone that I know that I've ever encountered has something that could be considered a trauma. And that affects your beliefs, that affects your actions, causes you to want to avoid having that pain again, want to play it safe instead of playing to win. So there's a lot involved with the mind work. But as you could probably tell, each of these areas is so important. This is very straightforward. It does require regular action on a deep level. Accountability and tracking is the final part that I recommend. Having a coach for that can help loads. It is really hard to be your own coach. Everyone does better faster with a good coach. So I hope you have enjoyed this material. I live and breathe this. I love it. I absolutely love it. So if you would like to talk more about your specific situation, if you're looking for a coach, or if you've never thought about having a coach, but now you're thinking, I wonder what it would be like to have a coach, just schedule a strategy session, reach out to me. I'll put the link to schedule a strategy session. It's just 30 to 45 minutes, all about you. All about you. I want to hear where you are now. I want to hear what you dream of. I want to help you dream bigger. And I will always leave you better off for having spent some time with me. I believe in leaving a sense of increase. So that's my commitment to you. Love to talk to you. Thank you. If you have any questions at all about the handout or about anything we talked about, put it in the comments or feel free to direct message me, and I'd love to help you. I love you and I appreciate you.